Hi everyone, and welcome to East Feasts. And this is a new segment that we're doing with some of our specialty team members. Each one of us are going to be coming up with some content for you, and I really wanted to do a cooking show. I've always wanted my own cooking show. If I wasn't a teacher, I may have been a chef if that hadn't all worked out. And I want to share some of my hobbies with you guys. So, everybody likes to eat, and kind of in these crazy times, we're left with whatever we have in the fridge or the pantry. We may not have, a big wide selection, but I'm gonna show you how you can make some really cool meals with just 2 or 3 ingredients. And, these are things that kids can do. Always be safe. Always make sure if there are knives or heat involved, if there is heat involved, you need to talk to your parents. But for our older kids, maybe this is something you can practice with your parents and stay safe. Because remember, that's our #1 job as teachers, is to keep you kids safe. So, first things first, we need to wash our hands. This is really important, especially in these times. You're preparing food. You may be preparing food for your family, you may be preparing food for yourself, maybe your little brother or sister. You need to keep them safe. We're not asking you to wash your hands for you. I mean, that is kind of part of it. But the big thing is we're trying to keep your family members safe. Maybe your grandfather, your grandmother, they are really in a kind of a scary situation where this virus could hurt them. Maybe it's your little brother or sister that has asthma. We gotta protect them. Maybe it's your next door neighbor. So, wash your hands. Next, we need some sort of pan, and I highly recommend a non-stick pan. This is Pioneer Woman from Walmart. This is just a non-stick pan. They last about a year or 2, and then you probably need to throw them away because these little Teflon flakes start to come up. Those aren't healthy. Or you could use a cast iron skillet. These will last longer than you will. These last hundreds and hundreds of years. This is one I've got, I think the first year Miss Worthy and I were married. You need to make sure they're nice and seasoned. You don't have to wash them a whole lot. I kind of wipe them down, but they're like a big sponge and they hold in some really cool goodness, and they hold heat really well too. So, let's talk about our ingredients. First, for an omelet, we need some eggs. And so I'm just gonna make a small omelet. We'll just need 2 eggs. So there we go. If you're making one for mommy or daddy, you might wanna throw in 3 eggs. Another thing that an omelet you have to have is cheese. So I'm gonna start off with some sharp cheddar cheese, but you could use mozzarella cheese. Growing up, I always used the Kraft single. That's always a good cheese. Let's see. And I think that's gonna be it from the refrigerator. Oh wait, I'm gonna add a little bit of butter. So there we go. Always need a spatula. Oh yeah. Okay, so when we start off, we wanna start with a cold pan, and we're gonna turn it on to heat. Now, first things first, ask your parents for permission. Okay, you have to be safe. Also, you've got this handle, and right now the girls are in their room taking a nap, I hope, probably not. But this handle can get problematic, especially if there's a little child. You want this handle to be tucked inward so that a kid doesn't knock it over or cause problems, okay? And I'm gonna turn it on medium heat, and you may even want it like medium-low heat. Because when you're cooking eggs, you wanna make sure that you're cooking them kind of slowly. If you put it up to medium-high heat, it's gonna cook the egg faster, and if that's what you like, you can, but it gets really crispy on the outside. And I don't like my eggs crispy. I like my bacon crispy, I like my fried potatoes crispy, but I don't really want my eggs crispy. Okay, Sadie. I'm gonna add some olive oil. And you can use olive oil, you can use vegetable oil. When you're preparing a protein like eggs or a steak or chicken, you need a little bit of fat to make sure it doesn't stick to the metal pan. So I'm just gonna throw that in there. Boom. I'm also going to throw throw in just a little bit of butter, just a little bit. And that adds a little bit of flavor. It's also a little bit of fat. I know a lot of people freak out. Oh, butter, it's too fatty. You're actually gonna get more fat out of your vegetable oils and things like that. A lot of the dairy inside of butter is gonna add that a little bit of extra flavor. So we're gonna let that heat up just a little bit. I'm also gonna prepare my eggs. So I've got 2 eggs. I need to put them into a vessel so that I can scramble them up. An omelet is a French dish, which literally means eggs that are beaten with cheese and oil and different types of fillings. And we'll talk about those fillings here in a little bit. So, I'm gonna see if I can do this one-handed like the guys on TV do. Oh, I made a mess. I'm gonna have to wipe that down later. 1 egg. Boom. 2 eggs. Boom. Little bit of shell. Make sure you get that shell. You kind of need to be careful when you're cooking with eggs and chicken because they can create a bacteria or provide a bacteria called salmonella, and that can make you very, very sick as well. And we don't want to be sick. And so eggshells actually carry a lot of salmonella, so we want to make sure we get all the eggshells out of there. Next, I'm going to take my fork, and you could have your kids do this. Little guys, you could do this. You stick your fork in there, and you just whisk it around. This is something you could have your little brother or little sister do while you're waiting for your fats to warm up. Some people add milk in here or cream, things like that. I leave it alone. If I'm making scrambled eggs, I like to put a little bit of cream in there or maybe a little bit of butter, but I'm gonna leave it alone because we've got enough fat in here to kind of cool things down. I do like to season my eggs before I cook them because if you season afterwards, it's not the same. You really do yourself more good by seasoning your eggs beforehand. And so this is just a little bit of sea salt. And okay, my plate is starting to sound like it's ready. So, I'm gonna take these eggs and I'm gonna pour them into the pan. Again, medium-low heat. Boom. And you shouldn't hear any sizzle because the pan, again, isn't too warm. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna work this pan and swirl that around, and very slowly those eggs are gonna start to congeal. They're gonna start to get a little firmer. Okay, and I'm gonna take my spatula. I'm gonna come around the edges with my spatula, and I'm just gonna make sure that these edges aren't holding on too tight to the omelet. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my cheddar cheese. I like the cheddar. That's Worthy really likes the sharp cheddar cheese. The girls, they like mozzarella because it's a stretchy cheese. And it reminds them of pizza. And I'm just gonna sprinkle it in the center. All right. Now, what we're gonna do is you're gonna notice the top of the omelet is now pretty firm. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tilt the omelet, tilt the pan, and I'm gonna fold this guy over like so. Put that down right there for you. And now what I'm gonna do is just slide that omelet onto the plate. Right there you have a delicious omelet. Now how do we dress this up? Well, I like to add colors. I've got a red plate, I've got a yellow omelet. I might chop up some green onions, sprinkle those on there. I put a little bit of spinach on there as well. You can also put the spinach or the green onions inside of it. You can fry up some mushrooms beforehand and put those inside of there. I know Sadie really likes pepperoni, so I'll grill those up a little bit and sprinkle those inside. Put just a little bit of pepper on there. And there you have a simple, basic, perfect omelet. It's not too brown, it's not too crazy. It's nice and silky and smooth. That's pretty good. That's been our East Feast. I want you guys to try some omelets, try some interesting fillings. You know, put what you want in there. Experiment. What do you have in your fridge? What do you have in your pantry? Maybe you've got a can of mushrooms. Get those guys in there. Send me some pictures. Let me know. Next week, we're gonna go on the opposite side of the meal, and do a little bit of dessert. We're gonna learn how to bake some cookies. Some gluten-free, simple ingredient cookies. I hope you guys will come tune in.